And I know you're, obviously someone of faith, being at the church and growing up in the church probably. What are your thoughts though? Because it's kind of like my cameraman's African American. I have African American friends. I obviously don't know what black people go through, but there was always that running joke if you're getting pulled over, driving while black or something like that. But this is a whole new level. This is just like living while black,
Yeah,
like
watching
you,
TV while black.
right? Watching TV while black. It's kind of like you get that talk from your parents about how to act when you leave your home,
Right.
and if you're near a police officer. But what kind of talk could you have if you're now just kind of a target
Yeah.
in your apartment? Like, what does that say about where things are?
It's definitely taking it to another level. Now we have to talk to our young black boys and say, basically, don't get shot, because nowhere is safe, It's for years and decades, it's been an open season for black men. They see a black man and they see, I don't know why, but they see him as a threat. And if we wouldn't turn to guns and try to shoot so quickly, just try to de-escalate the situation, which you feel like a police officer would try to do that, be trained to do that. But for the fact that black men in America are endangered, it hurts my heart because you can't strategically tell a black man what to do to not get shot, because now the level has been taken up so high that they always have to look over their shoulder. I don't know, maybe they have to look over their shoulder in the bathroom now, because it's gotten to that level. So,
And it seems like not just in Dallas, all over the country, but it seems to be kind of different standards for police versus the black people, because they had no problem releasing his information,
yeah.
but they are very hush hush as far as her information, citing it would compromise the investigation. Well, why is it that anything about her would compromise the investigation, but lickety split, you could release anything about him? We're seeing that also in the case of O'Shea Terry, who was a 24-year-old black man killed on September 1st. He and his passenger, his friend Terrence, were pulled over, and the cop said, O'Shea told him, just so you know, we do have marijuana here. And the original cop was pretty calm and walked back to her car to put in his information. And then another cop came up to the passenger seat. And before you know it, that cop is, I guess, talking about searching the car. O'Shea tried to drive away. He shouldn't have driven away. But at the same time, as soon as he drove away, that other cop jumped on the car and shot 5 times through the window and killed O'Shea Terry. In that case, they will not even release the officer's name, and it's over a month later. Over a month. They have not released his name, his image, nothing.
And initially he tried to say that his arm was stuck in the window. And
Right.
so they released the video, they retracted and say, oh.
Right. So they won't release his name. The original story was his arm was stuck in the window, but then the video came out. That's not true. But the point is, they have not released any information on this officer yet. They released that there was drugs found in O'Shea's car, this and that. So it really seems like it's not just it really seems like it's kind of a embedded cover-up, so to speak. What are your thoughts on the double standard there?
It's very sickening because they don't realize that police officers make mistakes just like humans. And the standard that they have for police officers is appalling, because you have to try these people as, normal citizens. Yes, they go through training to protect us, and, we commend them for that. But when they make a mistake, especially as taking lives, they shouldn't feel like because they put a badge on that they have the right to take a life under any circumstance. There are circumstances that are malicious, and there are motives that some police have, and there are some policemen that go in and they don't like certain races, and they know that. and they know they have a badge, and so they feel like they can go around and just do whatever they need to do to enforce the law, and that shouldn't be. They should abide by the law, enforce it just as well. Not to go on a tangent, but I officiate basketball and volleyball. But I don't abuse my power if there's a coach that's riding my back because I'm not making certain calls or giving them calls, and then I go favor the other team just because I can. So the same way with policemen. They shouldn't go out here and see a certain race. Oh, I'm going to be nice to them, treat them a certain way, versus a race that they don't like. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to make sure that I give them trouble or harass them or make them feel, belittled or anything like that. So the double standard out there is just, it's very sickening to me.
And I also think that, let's just keep it real, okay? If I got pulled over with one of my friends growing up on Long Island, mm-hmm. and I had weed in my car, maybe they'd put me in lockup or something for like a few hours. But if I drove away, they would not kill me. They would not kill me. So there's an element where you have this officer, and like talk about Philando Castile, kind of, somewhat similar. But where you have officers that if a black man is driving away, mm-hmm. or they think a black person is, stealing stuff in their apartment, yeah. that they almost like, it's like an instinctive thing that like, take them down. Yeah. And I think, how do you might be able to retrain, but how do you rewire racist, even subconscious racism? Because not all racism is conscious, most of it's subconscious. Yeah. How do you do that if most of these officers, maybe it's not in the manual, but they're certainly taught that these people are more of a threat?
It's a tough job, but it's more with conversations in your personal time, when these cops are unwinding, maybe just have a conversation like, what did you see today? Did you feel threatened? Did you feel like you need to reach for your gun? Talking about that feeling that they see, growing up, you are taught about how certain races act or whatever. And so you get a feeling about that. And so now these policemen, when they get on the force, they get this feeling, but it's heightened when it comes to black men. And then it's kind of like you said, take them down with the most deadly force that they can. And right now it's guns. And so it's hard to unwire that feeling because you've had that feeling since you were younger. And it's almost part of your DNA. So it's just, I feel like sitting down, having conversations like Botham would have. He had a lot of conversations with a lot of people, a lot of different races, and just voicing your opinion and standing firm in it, and not wavering. So just conversation, I feel like, is the best way to get it going.
Could you kind of talk about what it's been like within the community? Obviously, there was the funeral here, and then he had a funeral where he's from in St. Lucia. But are people, I don't know if you could be more scared of police, but are people more scared? Are they more angry? Are they more kind of just feeling like, another cover-up? What's been the feeling within the community here?
It's been anger, mad. People want answers. They're constantly asking me, have you learned anything new? What's going on in the media? And so it's anger mixed with sadness, but I would say it's leaning toward more anger. And people want results. They want the results that somebody that would murder a person deserves, And there's also a lot of rage out there too. There's millennials out there, they're very upset about this. They want to see the results. They want to see the justice for both of them and everything. And just basically anger and rage is what I've been seeing. Mm-hmm. So,
my final question is, I think, I don't know if you could say legacy, but, with Trayvon Martin and then Michael Brown, mm-hmm. Freddie Gray, we've seen protests. Mm-hmm. We've seen in local communities like the push for community boards overseeing the police. Mm-hmm. In some cases they have that, but they don't have subpoena power, so right. It's kind of like, it's good, but it's not where it needs to be. What do you think both of them would want his legacy to be? Because this story's not over. I mean,
No.
as more information come out, we might be seeing protests out there like we saw with Michael Brown or other cases. But what would he want to come out of obviously the worst possible outcome? But what would he? How would he want people to respond, whether they're people in Dallas, people anywhere, to this new level, which is basically being massacred in your home by a cop?
Right. He would definitely want people to respond in love and peacefully. At the same time, have the same energy and initiative to get justice for this situation. He definitely wasn't a person that wanted to start confrontations or start violence or anything like that. But he was very vocal about humanity and how we should live and how we should act, not just here in America, but just anywhere on the in the world. So he would want his legacy to be about loving people, everyone getting what they deserve, whether you're doing good, doing well, you deserve happiness and success. And if you went a route that was hateful and rageful, he would want you to get disciplined for that and make sure you got what you deserved. So that's definitely the legacy that he would want to leave out there to everyone.
Thanks for giving us a window into who he was.